This episode of the Red Bull Rant is by the fine patrons that support us through patreon.com/Red Bull Rant. You can support us for the low price of $1 a month, and you can get exclusive content, including a monthly wrap-up for the New York Red Bulls. We want to send a special shout-out to our patrons who support us at $5 a month. That is our producer-level reward. Thank you to Jeremiah Dempster, William Martin, Gwen Rachesco, Clayton John, Chris Adamek, and Maeve Dartinez. Now, on to the show. This is the Red Bull Rant podcast. If you aren't expecting adult language, why even bother listening? Welcome, my friends, to the Show Never Ends. This is the Red Bull Rant podcast. I'm your host, Jason Iapico.
I'm Pat McDonald, and this is episode 385. So it begins. Again. I guess.
Yeah, so our little hiatus is over, and we're going to get back into it a lot quicker than normal because the season is only 2 weeks away. A week and a half away. Wait, hold on. 2.5 weeks away, sorry.
My fiance is so excited.
I mentioned wanting to watch everything the other day, and my wife said, please don't subject me to it. So I can only imagine how she's going to feel when I tell her Red Bulls are back.
Yeah.
and she's willing to watch those with me, so I don't know.
Yeah, tonight it was, I got to record my podcast in 15 minutes. She's like, no!
Just wait until she's married to it.
Jeez. She got 6 months till that.
All right, so obviously Truman's not here. We're going to get into what little we've known so far about the Red Bulls during this preseason. First, let's talk about the players that the Red Bulls have lost during the offseason. These players all had their options declined, so they are no longer with the team. Lucas, goalkeeper, which never really played, so whatever. I don't even know who this guy is. Izier Germay, defender?
Yeah, I don't know.
Bringing him in. Mandela Egbo, who didn't play much.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Royer, which, yeah, that's a loss, but, I mean, I think it was pretty clear, even after he got kind of out of Struber's doghouse, that he just wasn't up to fitness.
Yeah.
So.
He will be very much missed, though.
Yeah. And the supposed golden boy, Matthias Jorgensen, is gone.
Yeah, the big old now signing.
Yep. These next two end of contracts, so they left, and we got nothing for them. Kyle Duncan has gone to, it's Belgium, right?
I mean, ridiculous. If they did not plan on re-signing him, I mean, if the team was not going anywhere realistic last year, they should have sold him last transfer window.
Yep. And then club captain and homegrown Sean Davis off to Nashville to join Dax McCarty and why can't I think of the other guy off the top of my head?
Alec Mouille?
Yes, Alex Mouille.
And how much money did he sign for there?
For less than the Red Bulls were offering.
That should be fucking telling.
Yeah, the MLS free agent rules favor the teams that had the player before, and look what happened.
We got more before I'll really get into how I feel, so we can keep going.
These players we lost because of end of loan. Some of them we want back, some we don't. Andrew Gutman we lost back to Atlanta United. Tom Edwards back to Stoke City, although apparently we may be close to bringing him back for this year on another loan. Technically, we lost Caden Clark, even though we just re-signed him on a different loan. Yobo Diarra is back to Salzburg. He didn't really play too much, didn't work out.
Nope.
Fabio is gone.
Good riddance.
It's not really much of a loss, so. This last player in Wikipedia is not really a loss because we signed him, Jake LaCava, Which is actually, now I'm looking at Wikipedia, it's kind of weird. He says he left and was signed by the Tampa Bay Rowdies, but then on the in, he's listed as being signed from New York Red Bulls too.
Yeah. I do vaguely recall. I think they signed him and loaned him right after the Rowdies, from my understanding.
Oh, is that what it was?
I believe so.
Yeah, actually, that makes sense because January 20th is listed for the date on both of those entries.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we can't score goals with our forwards, let's sign a forward and send him out on loan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, come on. We really expect anything from Jake LaClava.
No, but I mean, look who we have now, and you're willing to keep them on the board?
I mean, I have my thoughts, but keep going with the transactions.
Okay. Players coming in, Carlos Cornell, we talked about this on the season wrap-up show. He is officially signed, I think it was a 3-year deal from Salzburg, so he's with us permanently. Midfielder Lewis Morgan, who we brought in from Inter Miami for $1.2 million in allocation money, which works out or not, I am kind of surprised we actually used the allocation money for something.
Yeah, I mean, I believe Matt Doyle said something about that he might play forward, which he's never played before. So if that's how they're intended to use him, I think that'd be a huge mistake. But we'll see what happens.
What I saw was that as much as he was treated as a midfielder in Miami, he's better as a wingback. So we'll see. Dylan Nealis, Sean's brother, is coming in from Nashville for $125,000 allocation money. So, as soon as both of them are on the back line, we'll have the Nealis brothers jokes.
The Nealis connection.
Yep. These two are coming in from the academy, midfielder Daniel Edelman and forward Zach Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
From what country is this? I don't remember. Colombia?
Venezuela.
Yeah. Midfielder Jesus Castellano.
Project.
What you said? Project?
He's going to be a project, yeah.
I mean, I figured most of these players are really projects. So
I mean, that kid, he's a West. Well, I mean, our academy guys, who the hell knows? I mean, some of them, they all seem to have ceilings of all right for the most part. I mean, hopefully one of them's the next Tyler Adams, but we'll see.
I mean, isn't that kind of true of most academies, though, where like 80% of your players, their ceiling is championship level starter?
Yeah, I guess so. It's just, I'd like to be like Dallas, who I wouldn't necessarily want to sell the guys as quickly as Dallas does, but like guys who eventually get to Europe, eventually compete on the U.S. national team, that'd be nice.
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of the what is it, the distance rule they have for the academies, where like you can only recruit within so many miles of your home stadium.
That's true. That is something that needs to be done away with. I think the league is big enough now.
Even before New York City came in, Philadelphia was still encroaching on it.
Yeah.
Next, we talked about Jake LaCava is in and then right back out. Caden Clark is back on loan through the end of the year, whole year.
Why don't you explain how the guy we just got rid of, how he came back?
Okay, yeah. Because this is only possible in Major League Soccer. So, as soon as Caden Clark officially left in the summer, I believe the fee, what is it? I can't find the fee, but it was at least $1 million or $2 million, right, for the fee that they got. So as soon as that happens, he becomes a player that would have to go through allocation order because he is a high transfer out of the league. And additionally, he's been on the U.S. youth national team, and there's a bunch of other stuff. But it worked out last year because part of the sale was that he was immediately loaned back. It was part of the same deal, so there was no issues. Because this is a brand new deal, you have to go through allocation order. Red Bulls were 14th in the allocation order. So clearly, we would not have been able to sign him, except we traded with Toronto. We sent over $575,000 in allocation money. And in return, we got their number 2 spot in the allocation and a 2022 international roster slot. Now, clearly, number 2 is still not good enough,
No.
right? Because you got to be number 1. So then a second trade takes place where we provide Cincinnati an additional $100,000 in allocation money to move from number 2 to number 1. And now we sign Caden Clark, and now Cincinnati's right back to number 1 anyway.
Yeah.
So they spent $675,000 allocation just to bring him back on loan.
So, like, they pretty much spent most of Caden Clark's transfer fee to bring him back.
A good portion of it, yes.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many issues here. Obviously, the league's rules are fucking retarded. Like, they need to go away. Seriously. They're the stupidest rules on the face of the earth. They need to. It's time for MLS to put its big boy pants on and just be a real league instead of all this bullshit that we have to jump through hoops about. But on top of that, I mean, if you're spending the transfer fee you got per player to get the player back, a lot of it, then just don't bring him back. Let him go play somewhere else. I mean, you know, it makes no fucking sense. I mean, in a way, I'm happy he's back. I think he's got a ceiling. I think he could do some stuff this year because I feel like towards the end of last season, was really starting to go back on the upswing. But, come on. At this point, because we had to spend so much money just to get him back, I wish he had just gone to Salzburg.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Clark was a victim of circumstance, right? He was signed during the summer because that's when Jesse Marsch was in charge of Leipzig.
Mm-hmm.
From all the reports, Marsch was not given support he needed.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so it was a shitty deal for Marsch. He was they mutually agreed to part ways. I think it was back in November.
Mm-hmm.
The current head coach, who is, Domenico Tedesco, apparently doesn't want him, or at least not right now.
Yeah.
And Clark wasn't even training with Leipzig. He was training at home in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a shitty situation. It makes sense to bring him back. But yeah, if we're going to have to... this is such a weird fucking thing.
Yeah.
Because Red Bull owns both teams.
Mm-hmm.
So from Red Bull Global's perspective, there was zero change in the pocketbook. It was just money moved from one pot to the other.
Right.
Then they spent $675K of funny money to move him back.
Makes no sense.
And I say funny money because it's exactly what MLS is. I mean,
oh yeah, damn hands.
Unless a player is a designated player, their salary is covered by the league.
Yep.
Right, you only pay for whatever is over and above for designated players.
Mm-hmm.
And allocation money is provided from the league.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just it's
single entity needs to die.
And the worst thing, if you were to try to explain this to somebody that doesn't understand soccer to begin with,
mm-hmm.
they'd be confused.
Oh, 100%.
If you try to explain this to, let's say, a person from Germany who has no idea what MLS is, they would be confused.
Oh, God, there's so many people who would be confused by this.
You almost need to be a lawyer to understand this shit.
Yeah, shocking. Yeah.
So that's where we are with Caden Clark.
Yes.
So, as I mentioned, Tom Edwards possibly coming back for another loan this year. Apparently, they're working out the details with Stoke. Which, honestly, if Stoke's willing to provide him another loan, why not just buy him at this point? Because he proved worth last year.
Yeah, because that would require spending money. We know our team doesn't like to do that.
True, we had, 1, 2, 3, 5 loan signings end last year, so...
And to be fair, I think Tom Edwards does have his long-term eyes set on making it in England. So to be fair,
I'm sure he does.
Yeah.
And then the last possible player, at least at the moment, and I'm sure I'll fuck it up because it's a Brazilian name. Laquinas?
I'm going to say Luquinas or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was relatively close.
We'll wait to see how Shep and Candy say it. If the guy actually comes to Red Bull.
True, if. Somebody's claiming he's already signed, but nothing's been official, so...
No, because, that's what happens every offseason. Like, every other team makes a signing, and the signing actually signs. We have a signing, it's announced, it takes 3 to 4 fucking weeks for it to be official for whatever fucking reason. And the guy, waltzes in the day before the opening game.
This is the new Kaku watch.
Yeah. Oh, there's Kaku watch there was a Verone watch, Gonzalo Verone watch. It's every fucking year with this team. Is it rant time, or are we done?
We can go for it.
Okay, so last year, New York City FC won the title because you know what? They're an organization that tries. And I remember seeing the circles, all people saying, "Oh no, the Red Bulls are trying." We didn't know that the signings they made last year weren't going to work out the way we wanted them to. Yes, we fucking did. The Red Bulls are not fucking trying. They have 2 designated player spots. I think we've all fucking agreed that they have a nice little core to build around. That's what we discovered last year. And you know what you do? You have 2 DP slots. You fucking fill them. You fill them with attacking talent because we could not score goals last year. That is what you do. Even if this Luquingas guy is all right, he's one guy, and he's from a league that is not proven in MLS. Let's be clear. Okay, we've seen where the pipeline of successful players to this league come from. It's not from Poland. Okay? I mean, I can't believe there are still Red Bull fans out there who think this organization is trying to win titles. We're not going to. We're not winning a title this year. We probably, I'll give the team the benefit of the doubt. My guess is they'll be just good enough to, as they do every year, squeak into the playoffs, only to be bounced out in the first round. That is what this team is going to do. I mean, these signings are embarrassing. This is a New York team, and I understand we don't get the media coverage that, say, Seattle, Atlanta, all get in their markets. I get that. But there is no reason for a team from New York to be this stingy, to this averse to, I'm blanking here. Averse to trying. It's just flat out embarrassing. It is embarrassing to be a Red Bull fan. And it's going to be embarrassing crowds all season, much like it was last year. It's just, I'm fucking over it. I'm fucking over how embarrassing this team is when it comes to giving a shit about the product they put on the field. And I'm going to be the sucker in the stands. I'm going to be one of them this year.
You didn't cancel your tickets?
No, I got a friend who's really adamant about still going. Seats aren't bad. If the Red Bull Stevie Cohen ever comes around, I've got good seats for when that happens. I mean, it's just, if my buddy was gonna pull his tickets, I'd be out in a heartbeat. They're trying. No, they're not. They're not trying.
So the last few years as a Jets fan has been pretty bad, right?
Yeah. Well, they look like they're on the up and up. As bad as the season was,
But this was a brand new coaching with a rookie quarterback. Like, they technically improved on the year before, so I'll take it for what that was. But the 3 or 4 years before that, was utter trash.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll excuse the very last year because that was our GM's very first full year, right, as part of the team.
Mm-hmm.
So he has to overhaul to what he can bring in and all this other stuff, right?
Yeah.
We had a terrible GM. I can't remember his name, honestly. He was terrible to draft.
Oh, McCagnon?
Yeah. We signed a mediocre coach who was fired by Miami.
Mediocre?
Well, at the time he was mediocre. He was like 500. he proved that there was the lower floor for him. Okay, we had a quarterback on Monday Night Football who was mic'd up and said, "I'm seeing ghosts."
Yeah.
And through all of that, I honestly believe that the Jets were trying harder than the Red Bulls are trying over the last few years.
Yeah.
The only reason the Jets haven't made the playoffs is because the NFL does not allow 50% or more of the teams into the playoffs.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, the last 2 years, I believe we were 6th or 7th in right. We were wild card, but we were like the last or the next to last in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not even like we had breathing room compared to the cutoff line.
Yeah. If it was MLS, I think Gase's first year, you probably would have made it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's baffling, and here's the thing, right? Marsh and Curtis proved you do not need to spend money to find good players and produce a good team. Right? As much as we all laughed when it happened, Curtis came in with his 300-page plan. Look at that team he built in his first year.
Yeah.
Right, and that was supposed to be a complete rebuild. We were losing Thierry Henry and a bunch of other guys who were the core of that Mike Pecky team.
Mm-hmm.
And we went from I forget where we were in the playoff seeding, maybe a wild card, or not wild card, but maybe the bottom half of the playoffs. But we went from there to a supporter shield.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at the time it was the best points record. I don't remember if that was the one or the third shield was it, but either way, they proved that you don't have to spend a lot of money to find players that can perform in this league. The biggest move Ali Curtis made was trading up in the allocation order to get Sasha Kljestan.
Yeah.
Every other piece on that team was from inside MLS.
Mm-hmm. Well, Bradley Ray Phillips.
But he was on the team during That's the only reason I say it. Every other piece that was brought in that offseason came from inside the league. Right? Like they were able to find the talent they wanted, they went after it, they got it. And
might have been Royer's first year.
I think Roy's first year was 2016.
Yeah. I don't know.
But
you got to spend some money.
Yeah.
You can't be stingy like they are now. I mean,
and don't get me wrong, they also got a little lucky that year because Tyler Adams came out of nowhere during that friendly versus Arsenal or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was one player, but the other 10 still had to perform, and they found the 10 they needed to get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a hard thing. Maybe you want to spend on scouting. That's fine. But you have 2 teams in Europe. You have one in South America. You have one in North America. If you can't build a goddamn scouting network out of those 4, I don't know.
Yeah. I think you got to fill your DP slots. You got to get attacking talent on this team one way or another. I mean, do I think you necessarily have to? I think the days of signing Thierry Henry, David Beckham, I think those days are over. But you got to sign proven commodities. You can't just say, "Oh, this guy might work out." You can't do that.
Yeah, no. The league has moved past the Thierry Henry era, right? This is the league is just evolved. Yeah. Now you got to make your DP money count. You can't just get it to get butts in the seat.
Yeah, I mean, and like right now, who knows what Laquinas is going to be? You know, if he's going to be a designated player, if he's going to be allocation, pay down. But right now, our current DP is Patrick Lamala, and who knows if Laquinas or Clark or whomever gives him better, the new guy we got from Miami, if they give him better service here, maybe he'll put more in the back of the net. But as of right now, he is not designated player level. So, I mean, that's the other thing. If that's who your designated player is, you're misspending your money. It's simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, I think he scored 6 or 7 goals last year.
Single digits, that's for sure.
And a few of those came from penalty kicks. It's not even like they were all run of play.
Yeah. You know who scored more last season? Brian White.
Now I'm going to see if I can find this guy. Of course, I can't spell his last name off the top of my head, but screw it. I'm not going to bother. Yeah, Brian White, who we sold off in the middle of the year, was our... Actually, that's a good question. Who was our leading goal scorer last year?
Either Fabio or
I'm going to laugh. I'm going to laugh if it's a player that we got rid of in the middle of the season.
It was own goal.
Patrick Kamala was our leading goal scorer. He had 8 total goals.
There you go. I mean, that's just not good enough. If you're going to be a designated player, you need to score more than that.
And then Fabio scored 7.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
I don't know. And then there's possible rumors of Struber leaving at some point because apparently last year impressed some people. Yeah. So he could possibly be gone in the summer.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me. I mean, I don't know.
Stick around. There's a better pasture to go to.
I mean, I'll say this. I remember when he was hired, Matt Dale was like, all right, looks like Red Bull are going to finally open the checkbook because I don't see why Struber would lean on a up-and-up job in the English Championship for Red Bull if they weren't going to spend money, and then they didn't. So I would not be shocked if Struber has one eye on the door.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? Didn't they sign him and he didn't come here for a few months because of a visa issue?
Mm-hmm.
Like they bought out his contract for him not to coach for a few months.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Yeah. All right. Preseason matches. Anybody's guess is as good as ours because a lot of their training stuff is behind closed doors. I don't know. You told me the name of the tournament that they're in before we started recording, but I have no idea what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's apparently all behind closed doors out in California.
Yep.
So we'll have no look at this team until they start their season on February 26th.
Yeah. The only game I recall being reported was, I think, their first preseason game they played against New York City FC and they lost.
Which wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
So the matches that we do know about, tomorrow at 7 p.m. they're taking on DC United. Sunday, February 13th, they're taking on the LA Galaxy, and then Saturday, February 19th against LAFC. Like we said, it's not going to be televised, so...
You'll probably have to go to the LA team pages to get any coverage.
Yeah. and even then, I don't know how much you really get.
Yeah.
All that's leading up to that first match on February 26th, which will take place in San Jose. It's 6 p.m. Eastern time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's afternoon over there.
Yeah. So we'll preview that on a future episode.
Yeah. All right. So before we get to dummy ground, I have here about the U.S. World Cup qualifying, since that's probably the only stuff we can really talk about right now.
Yeah, indeed.
So I got to bring up their stats because I can't remember exactly. I know we're second. I think we're tied in points with Mexico.
I believe so, but we are leading a goal differential.
Yeah. So there's three matches left in qualifying. It's what, March is the window?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. The last 3 games they won 2 and lost 1 to Canada,
mm-hmm.
who are the presumptive number 1 out of CONCACAF at the moment.
Yeah, best team in CONCACAF right now. Let's just say it. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they beat us. They beat Mexico. They tied us on our soil. So
you can't say they're not. I mean, it's simple as that. I mean, it's part of the reason why a lot of other people were freaking out when we lost to them. I wasn't. because I did not think we were going to win that game going into it. It sucked. I didn't like how we looked, but I thought we were going to lose in Canada. They're just playing so well right now.
Yeah.
Congrats. They're going to the World Cup unless they have a monumental collapse the last 3 games.
Yeah, so current standings, Canada's in first with 25 points, U.S., Mexico second and third with 21. Panama in fourth, which is the playoff spot, with 17 points. Costa Rica is in fifth with 16. These 3 are effectively out of it, but I don't think mathematically 2 of them are. El Salvador is in sixth with 9 points. Jamaica is in seventh with 7. And Honduras is officially eliminated with 3 points.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And holy shit, I just saw Honduras' goal differential. It's bad. I mean, I know that team is bad, but I didn't realize they were negative 17.
Oh, yeah. Bad. They've had a terrible qualifying campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I think Jamaica might be out of it, too.
I do feel like one of the other teams is out, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, Jamaica's out because the most they can get is 9 points, and they're 10 back of fourth.
Okay. All right.
So El Salvador has a chance, in theory.
So you're saying there's a chance.
So the U.S., let's see. March 24th, we get to travel to Azteca.
Ooh, baby.
Yep. Then March 27th, the last home match against Panama. And then on March 30th, have to go down to Costa Rica.
House of Horrors. Let's really hope we don't need points out of that game.
I think on the Fox broadcast, I think they were saying 4 points. If you get 4 points before the Costa Rica match, you're pretty much in.
Yeah, no, I think it's 4 points. They're in one of those top 3 slots again, guaranteed. 3 points if Costa Rica wins all 3 games next window. So if we just beat Mexico or Panama and Costa Rica wins all 3 of their matches, that could, I believe, potentially drop us down to the playoff game. It would at least be in one of those top 4 slots. So 3 points should guarantee us top 4. Honestly, 3 points should probably get us into the World Cup period.
Well, the big thing is really going to be the match against Panama, right? Because right now,
yes, I mean that's you must win that match no matter what. I mean, plain and simple. They can't. That cannot be a game they show up and fart away. I mean, the good thing is Gio Reyna should be back. He's someone who I think has been sorely missed. So that's a plus. We'll see if Tyler Adams is healthy by then. I don't believe he's played in the last couple of days after injuring his hamstring. I think you gotta, if you're the U.S., you gotta, I think you gotta stick with the Zimmerman, Miles Robinson center back pairing because they have not lost a single game with those two at center back. The plus is the way Mexico's been playing. I actually do think there's a chance you could tie or even win in Azteca. So I'm not sure if they're going to be fans of that game or not. I'm not entirely sure. But if you can get a result in Mexico and get your 3 points in Panama, we're going to the World Cup. But yeah, it's closer than I'd like it to be. That's for sure. It sucks. If this was a 6-game, the old Hex, we'd be in the World Cup already. But what are you going to do?
Yeah, and I'm looking at the schedule. I think you need to try to get at least a point out of Mexico because Panama is playing Honduras, so that's pretty much a guaranteed 3.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if you lose in Mexico, you're now looking at facing Panama at home, only being up by 1 point with 2 games left.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Panama is probably not going to beat Canada even at home.
Mm-hmm. But Canada also might have nothing to play for that final game.
True.
So you got to think about that.
Yeah. I also think that, and I know Greg Berhalter has been very conscious about rotating his roster because we're playing 3 games in these windows.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say it, but I think this window is the one where you need to go all out. If you need that win in Costa Rica, you can't rotate.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you absolutely can't play a B squad if you need it. So, I mean, that's the big question. I mean, what do you do? Do you actually put all your starters out in Mexico? Or do you rotate a little there at the beginning?
I think Mexico, you can get away with it.
Yeah,
If you don't win in Mexico, then you can't rotate after that.
Yeah. I think you know, at the same time, it's just like we did get a draw 4 years ago in Azteca, and that was with a terrible team. So it's just like, and Mexico has not been unstoppable at home. I mean, I forget who, a couple teams that are in points down there. Canada being one. I think Panama might have been another. Mexico is just not having a great, despite being in third place, not having a great qualifying tournament. So it's tough. I mean, it would have been great if you got. I mean, again, everyone's hand wringing about Canada. I think the drop points were obviously. I think you could have gotten a point in Panama, but they played like a B squad down there. Getting only a point in Jamaica, I think, was tough, and obviously the draw at home against Canada. I mean, that was tough as well. So I think there were some missed opportunities. Now it comes down to the final window. I do think we will qualify. I am fairly confident, but obviously I've been, like many others, been burned 4 years ago. It's hard to be confident.
Yeah. So Mexico, by the way, has only dropped 2 points at home, and that was to Canada.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the other games have been closer than they have been traditionally, but they haven't lost except for.
Didn't they?
They haven't dropped except for.
Panama didn't draw. I just want somebody else to do that.
All right, so I'm going to double check this. Mexico beat Jamaica 2-1.
Mm-hmm.
And they drew to Panama, but that was on the road.
Okay.
Let's see. Then Mexico tied Canada 1-1 at Azteca. They beat Honduras 3-0, which, it's...
Well, that's, yeah.
Let's see. Next home match for Mexico. I'm sorry. They drew Costa Rica 0-0.
There you go. So I would say somebody else got a point there.
So it's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible to at least walk away with one.
Yeah.
And honestly, in CONCACAF, that should be the baseline. You win at home, draw on the road.
Absolutely. 100%.
So. All right. I kind of think we beat that up. So now time for the dumping ground. Aside from Olympics, is there anything you want to talk about?
Nah, yeah, let's, Olympics, we're playing like crap so far, it looks like. We don't have a lot of medals, but hey, curling is, team curling starting up, so we beat the Ruskies this morning. We'll see what happens tonight. And, let's hope we can repeat with the, gold in curling. And, in hockey, the NHL players aren't there because of COVID, but who knows? Maybe we'll have another miracle on ice this, year. And obviously the women's hockey team is, into the knockout round. So that's a big thing. I kind of hope Eileen Gu doesn't win another medal for China because, she's born and raised in the States and somehow representing a country that's committing genocide.
Is she the snowboarder?
Yeah. Oh, no, she's a skier. It's like big air skiing or something.
The freestyle. Yeah, okay. Big air skier. Okay.
So she won one gold. I kind of hope she loses all the rest.
She has a Chinese mother, by the way. That's why she's representing China.
Who gives a shit? You were born and raised. I'm just saying why. I don't care. You were born and raised in this country. This country has given you so much, and you go and look. If you represented Italy, I'd still be annoyed, but whatever. Italy's not currently killing people in the western provinces of China in concentration camps. So, I mean, let's not kid ourselves that China's some cuddly, warm and fuzzy nation.
I am not doing that at all.
I know you're not, but it's just like, it's like, ugh. I hope she sucks the rest of the Olympics. That'd be wonderful.
I don't know if you watch the short track at all. Short track speed skating. I
don't think I've seen one yet.
I find it kind of interesting, but it's
a good sport.
There's a few calls that went China's way that are kind of questionable. One of which, there was I don't know what they call the little discs that they put down on the ice for speed skating, but there was 3 Canadians and a Chinese skater coming around one of the curves, and you can clearly see the Chinese skater, because they have their hand on the ice, right, with speed skating, is they're keeping their hand down for balance, is as her hand is down, one of these little discs gets in there, so she takes it and throws it ahead of her, slides it on the ice, and it hits the skate of a Canadian skater who falls over, and the Canadian that was next to this Chinese woman gets faulted for causing a problem.
That's ridiculous. Well, if you're an Olympic official, do you want to end up in a Chinese gulag? I mean, so I get it. I mean, you just read about how some of these athletes are being treated over there. It's just kind of like, ugh.
Yeah, the stories about the quarantining.
It's just
if you test positive. It's just
sounds.
I saw one of the pictures of some of the food. It's like, ugh.
It sounds beyond. No matter what you think about whether if you're asymptomatic or not, whatever, blah 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 blah. It just sounds like once they're in that quarantine, it sounds like it's hell. And I think there's a way to do it humanely.
And I didn't see the opening ceremonies, but I heard China took it as a way to be political and make themselves look better.
Well, of course.
And all I could say is, what the fuck? Like, this whole thing is supposed to not be political, right? That's the whole point of the Olympics. And of course, the IOC let them get away with it. So
of course, because they like their money.
Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't really pay too close attention. I do remember the one point they had Chinese military guys out there just passing along the China flag. Like, it's whatever. Communism's great.
All right, I think that's it. I have nothing else to add.
Yeah, I think we tapped it well.
The only thing I can say is curling might be my favorite Winter Olympic sport.
I love curling. I love it.
I just got reminded. We challenged way back when.
We did.
Mark Fishkin and Dave Martinez to a curling match, and we never got a response.
The curling match was never answered. The curling challenge.
And now one of them no longer on Seeing Red, but the challenge is still out there. I believe there is a curling club somewhere in New Jersey, like
there's
in,
two
by Newark or something like that.
There's two. There's one in South Plainfield, and there's one I think near Cherry Hill, which I only learned about that one recently.
But hey, the offer's still out there.
Yeah, there you
go. Who is it? Goldstein is the other host of Seeing Red right now? I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah.
But whoever it is, bring him along. We'll do 3v3.
Yeah. And I'm not saying I don't listen to Seeing Red because I'm like, angry at those guys. I'm not. Oftentimes I'm afraid I steal their ideas. That's part of it. And, they're a great show. So if you're listening to this show and you want us to Seeing Red, I highly encourage it.
Joe Goldstein. Yep. I just
Joe Goldstein's still on the show? Okay.
Yeah. So that's the updated challenge now for curling. It's me, and we'll have to find a way to do it, but me, Patrick, and Truman versus Fishkin, Goldstein, and Martinez.
Yeah, bring Martinez back. Why not?
Well, that's when the challenge was originally issued.
That's true. That's true. He needs to come back, yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
All right. So I think that's it. Let's wrap this one up. You can visit us at patreon.com/Red Bull Rant. $1 a month is all you need to get exclusive content such as monthly wrap-ups, live post games, anything else we decide to do, which we have been really bad at, but hopefully we'll be better at this year.
Yeah.
You can email us redbullrant@gmail.com. If you want to call us, leave a voicemail that gets played on the show, 973-348-5329. Yes, the phone line does work. I just made sure it was working because Google almost took it away from us for nobody calling recently. So
those rat bastards.
Facebook.com/Red Bull Rant. On Twitter @Red Bull Rant for the show. At Doc the Stooge for myself. @The Truman for Truman. Subscribe to our show via iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, or not Google Play Music. Now it's YouTube Music. Wow. Gotta update that. YouTube itself, SoundCloud, pretty much anywhere you can find a podcast. Last words before we get out of here.
Red Bull proved me wrong, I guess.
Yep. Oh, sorry, random. You see the leaked kit, the new one, the red one for the away?
I think I did, but I don't remember it.
It's the sort of checkerboard pattern, just darker red and lighter red.
That's right. I think Red Bull 2 wore that 2 or 3 years ago.
Fuck, that wouldn't surprise me somehow.
Yeah.
It's a decent idea. I'm not sure if it's my favorite, but it's better than the black one, honestly.
Yeah. I actually like the black, but I refuse to buy it because I refuse to give this team any more of my money aside from the ticket I give them every week.
Like I said, I would have liked the black one better if it was just the regular Adidas stripes. For some reason, the way they did it that year just didn't sit with me.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, for Patrick and myself, this has been episode 385 of the Red Bull Rant. Thank you guys for tuning in, and as always, go Red Bulls.
Lights.